All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Whispers in the Woods. Now, it has been a little bit because we've had to switch around the schedule. So it feels like it's been ages, but we're finally back with more of this campaign. It's good to be back. For some of you, this might be your first Whispers in the Woods session. And seeing as we were having some, I think technical issues with a couple of the players who were disconnected just right before I unmuted us, I believe that they will be back. So I'll give a more detailed little summary of what's been going on. Welcome, Chrono, and welcome anybody else who is new. Thank you for the follows, both Chrono and Juniper Jade. Thank you for the kind words. I'm glad you enjoy the look of things here. So yes, Whispers will be on Tuesdays now, 7 p.m. Eastern. That's the shift. We used to be Wednesdays, but we're Tuesdays now. And I believe Caesar Sand is moving from Sundays to Thursdays. Though they have not gotten back to me on whether or not they're good for 7 p.m. Eastern or not. So we'll see. They might need to push a little bit later, depending on work schedules, but it still should be relatively similar evening time. I'll update the schedule and tweet about it if they let me know. So first things first, before I get into things, thank you all if any of you are here from Twitter. All right, yes. So Queely, our seems to be on his way back. Internet was having problems, but welcome Bladar Broadcast as well. If any of you are here from the the large surge of support that I've received on Twitter recently, thank you for all of that. That was very surprising. I was certainly not expecting all of that over the past several hours, but it was well, heartwarming if I had one. If I had a heart still, it would be heartwarming. But thank you all. So while we wait for Luno to get back in here, bone warming. I'll give the summary. So he will I'm assuming be back in here soon. So let's get started with our summary. So Whispers in the Woods. Here's a very basic summary in the chat. But allow me to give a slightly more detailed one. After several strange sigils appeared on the backs of the players' hands, a call to action, if you will, call to adventure, they quickly found themselves targeted for assassination by a mysterious assassin troupe called the Silent Song. And after looking into why they were being targeted for assassination and hunting down some of the assassins themselves, they quickly learned that those assassins had been hired by a mysterious figure known as Beira. And in their attempts to learn more, that eventually led them through the woods to the north to a city of the Fae called Upperloft. And in Upperloft, they met the Summer Court and learned that the sigils on the backs of their hand were a sort of spin of destiny, a little bit of a twist of fate that placed them as champions of the fair folk, or the Fae, in order to ward off the threat that this Beira was bringing to the realm, to Kael Taihera, which is the kingdom that they are in right now. As Beira is seemingly spreading this black mold throughout the forest that seems to be infecting all the trees and is killing many fae, including a ton of the dryads who live within the trees. Welcome, Erebus V2. Brought together by the world's quickest tattoo V&E artist who works while you sleep. Yes, I suppose so. Now, there was a slight incident in Upper Loft that involved two of the characters losing champion privileges, and and a certain mysterious entity actually reaching out and taking advantage of that severance of a connection between the players and the Fae in order to corrupt one of them. And so two of them had to sever themselves from fate. But we have two new characters replacing them who have joined up with the party. So currently only two of them still have the sigil. If you're wondering why that is all of a sudden, they did all start with it, but two of them remain. And so, after getting some guidance from the Summer Court, the Archfey Council, they were sent off to hunt down Beira and put a stop to the Black Mold once and for all. But to do so, they would have to cross over into the Feywild in order to reach a ancient elven keep known as the Briar Keep, overgrown with vines and thorns. And they did so after a perilous journey and arrived at this massive abandoned castle called the Briar Keep. Now, they spent the past couple sessions exploring it and found quite a few puzzles and blocked off doors and mysterious ghostly figures, as well as attempted to piece together some of what had happened when the keep originally fell to ruin. And it seems that perhaps Beira, or the name that she was using as a cover, Beatrice, is involved. So, to summarize their current situation right now, as they left it last session, welcome Mackenzie. The party, in the previous session, hit a couple dead ends and decided that they needed to figure out how to unlock certain locked doors. They had one puzzle that involved some boar head trophies on the walls. They had a couple doors that seemed to be locked with keys, and so they went back outside. As on their approach to the keep, they'd seen a skeletal horse out front of an old carriage, but hadn't dared go near it. So now, fearing that perhaps there's something important within the carriage, they made their way back outside in order to investigate it. So that is where we return to the party. So, while I believe while we're waiting for something else to be fixed with one of our players, I'll bring you over to the play screen. So as you can see in the bottom right there, that's our sigil, traced on the back of two of our characters' hands. Though they do not all. Yes, actually, Bladar Broadcast, I do. I make them all using Incarnate. Yes, indeed. Yeah, you got it in one. Perfect. Yeah, they are all made with Incarnate, and I do them all myself over quite a few hours. It can take a little bit to get a hang of, but once you get used to it, it's not too bad. Certainly no interior designer myself. So we return back outside of the Briar Keep in the front courtyard by the old iron gate. Where the party had just made their way back outside. So, while we continue to wait, there's some Discord technical issue that's going on here with one of our players. That's why we're waiting. It happened literally seconds before I hit the unmute button for all of us. So if you're wondering what's going on, that's what's going on. That's what today wants to be like. But let's introduce our characters, shall we? I suppose starting with the ones who are here. So in the top right here we have Sybil Vignori, who is our tiefling Circle of Dreams druid. And Sybil is one of the ones who is still marked with the Summer Court's sigil. And she has a small little lantern beetle on her shoulder that she befriended during their adventure that lights the way for the party. You can see him right here, named Barry. Next, continuing with the trend of those who still have the sigil, is Wits.
Hello there.
Wits is a wizard, very fitting, specializing in illusions. Who currently wears a set of bracers that were passed down by one of the previous champions of the Summer Court. And Wits is the other one who still bears the sigil of the Summer Court. Now over to our two new characters, who used to be playing Martos the Orc and now is playing Lola the Satyr. Who is a bard. You're a which subclass are you again? It's been too long.
Lore.
Lore, that's right. Okay.
College
Perfect.
of Lore.
Perfect.
You dumb though. Don't be discouraged.
So this is our College of Lore bard, who just received a new instrument in the previous session. And then the one unable to introduce himself here is Sequili, who is our Oath of the Ancients Paladin, who is a centaur, who has been fearing me placing a ladder in the party's path for several sessions now. Yeah, I really don't know what to say about this. Man, that really sucks. That was seconds before we unmuted.
I'm trying to see how I can help him.
He blipped right out of the chat right as I was moving my mouse to click unmute for everybody. So that is incredibly unfortunate circumstances right here. What else happened in the previous sessions that we can recap? In the Briar Keep, they've met a few different ghosts. Some of them seem more friendly than others. One of them was a ghost that they've been calling the coachman, who wears riding gear and carries a lantern as he floats through the halls. seemingly quite upset about something that's occurred in his past, though they haven't quite pieced it all together yet. Another ghost of the Briar Keep was inhabiting the body of a snowman. He'd been frozen to death in the keep's ice house and remained there as a snowman who was not particularly aware of his own fate. He'd been one of the butlers of the keep when it had stood, and had been in a situation of unsure love with one of the maids. He had been in love with one of the maids, but wasn't sure if she felt the same. And in the previous session, the party searched the servants' quarters, the women's servants' quarters, for items, and actually found evidence that she did in fact feel the same, which put the frozen ghost to rest, and granted them with a couple magic items for their effort. After thawing out the snowman, they also thawed out a small little spoon, an animated spoon from the kitchens, that seemed to be on a journey somewhere in the keep as it marched on its way as soon as it unfroze. Yes, the spoon, everyone's favorite mascot character. And so they followed the spoon on its journey and found that it made its way all the way upstairs to a locked door, and then just continued to rattle up against it, unable to pass through, until the party found a way to open that door. And so they've been left with several locked doors, one of which barred by two boar's head statues that were talking to them and, in fact, roasting them a little bit. The other one's locked by keyholes that seem to have animal-based sigils. They found snake sigils and dove sigils. Yes, a spoon. Indeed, Chibi. Just straight up a spoon. It's exactly what you think. A marching spoon, yeah. As well as the door upstairs, which seems to be an incredibly sturdy door made from stone, that was locked with the sigil of a tooth, which is a bit of a new one for them. They hadn't seen that one before. All right, I do need to do a tiny bit of troubleshooting with the Discord. So if I'm a little bit quiet for a second, talk amongst yourselves.
All right.
I'm gonna show them the cheese command.
Oh, heck yeah.
Ow, the cheese hurt.
Oh, yeah, there was also the room full of poison food that Wits kept putting in his
Ate
mouth.
everything. Every
Indeed.
poison possible he touched.
I mean, it was yummy. I don't see what the problem here is.
I don't know if it tasted good or if you were just like downing the most rancid poison, like rotted cheese there was.
I recall. I think he said that it tasted like regular food. It just was poisoned.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a very effective poison if you could just taste it as soon as you put it in your mouth, so it did taste normal. But yes, they have found multiple rooms full of poison things as they've been traveling through the keep. And yes, that command is !cheese. If you want to partake in the poisoned cheese, you can roll your, I think it's a d10, and see how much poison damage you take. Taking a lot tonight. It's 2 9s. Not having good luck tonight.
Yeah, not at all. Looking forward to what nastier stuff we're gonna find in this mansion later on.
Hopefully more drip.
Okay, I did attempt that. Thank you for the follow, Jin Kane, by the way. We're just struggling with some technical issues that sprung up immediately as the stream went live.
Yeah, he said that joining VC and other servers was still working, so that's why I figured that might help.
Okay, strange. Huh. Well, that's certainly a new one. Yeah, it's because Chibi's here. Anytime Chibi shows up, something goes wrong. That's why. I should have realized earlier. Of course. I could, Chibi. For Silverly Song 2? It'll happen eventually. You don't need any retweets. I'm putting together the new game, so they'll be ready soon. Actually, I've already gotten a decent amount of people interested, so the new stuff will be starting up as soon as possible because the current running games, Seas of Sand and Whispers of the Woods, just seem to be absolutely cursed right now. So I think we really do need some new blood in here. Hello?
Hey, I'm good now.
What?
And-
But what just
and
happened?
Luna
it's
just
fun.
What just happened to Lola?
She's typing.
I see your solution, Luna. You just passed on the broken to her.
Well, I don't know if it was him changing the server or me changing to Google DNS, because I was just using the automatic, I guess, through my ISP. And there was some kind of issue with the route there, so I changed to the Google DNS. Now it's working.
Okay, everybody's in here. Let's try to not jinx it. And let's
Fingers
try.
crossed.
Let's attempt to get started. Since we're already a half an hour in.
Who casted Counterspell? That's just not nice.
Yeah, as soon as the streamer's about to start, somebody hit us with that dispel voice call at a like 9th level or something like that. Just banished you right from the plane. Welcome, Sad Tofus. Welcome, Bast50. Welcome, all the people. There have been so many people who have followed. Mia the Goblin, Cryptic Ascent. All a whole ton of people. So if I do miss you, I apologize. But I'm incredibly grateful. But let's try and get started now because we're finally all here. Back to more Whispers in the Woods. So, the 4 of you creak open the doors that allowed you access to the Briar Keep and make your way back along the stone walkway and out into the front courtyard once more. So now back in the wilderness of the Feywild, you are faced with the gate off to your off in front of you, but you also have the two paths that lead north and south around the two sides of the castle. And last time you had discussed wanting to head south, as you hadn't explored that area except for a tiny little bit. A little bit of scouting, but not any actual exploration. And so that was your path last time, unless you wish to change it.
I believe we're going to stick with that. Sybil already checked out the north, right? And we
Indeed.
saw from inside the building, outside that way as well.
Yes.
Probably further explore the south, yeah.
Very well. Then a small, mossy cobblestone path leads off to the south as you follow it in between groups of trees. Again, with those oddly colored leaves, unlike any that you've seen in the forests of your journeys. And so you wind your way back along towards the south of the keep. Wow, look at all these maps, I guess. Players can't see that, but chat, you guys get to. And you make your way back south once more, which only Wits had scouted out before. And he'd given you a brief summary of what you'd seen down there. And it didn't exactly sound inviting. But you join him this time down the path. Where, after winding your way in between the groups of trees, you see... Actually, let's do the top of the session copy for the whole party. As you wind your way between the gaps of trees, you see an old abandoned carriage lying kind of lopsided and abandoned by the side of the fence here. And as Wits had described previously, there is indeed a skeletal visage of a horse, just sort of quietly trotting back and forth and biting at some of the tufts of grass on the ground. It's currently facing sort of away from you all in this direction and has not noticed your approach. Though it does pace its way sort of back and forth in front of this old, ornate-looking carriage.
I dare someone to touch it.
How dare you.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Someone got to pet this horse.
I mean, you got the idea, so might as
Oh.
well run with it.
Oh. You know,
Looks like a really soft, lovely horse, doesn't
a
it?
pony is a pony, no matter how bony. I made myself laugh. Shh, shh. Do I let it know? I should probably let it know I'm coming up. What do you say to a
Yeah,
horse?
you wouldn't want to startle it. Maybe try to go in front of it so it sees you.
This is good advice.
Oh.
So you cautiously kind of creep your way along the path, angling yourself so that the horse can see you before you actually get too close to it. And it kind of had its head bent down, just sort of biting at patches of ferns and grass. But as you begin to creep your way off around it, you see it kind of lift its head and just kind of level its eyes at you. It doesn't neigh, it doesn't make any noise, it doesn't even paw at the ground with one of its hooves. It just sort of stares directly at you, Lola.
I'm gonna keep looking at it. So Quilly, do I break eye contact? Is it okay to break? I'm gonna keep eye contact. I feel like I should keep eye contact.
Usually when you maintain eye contact with beasts, they take it as a threat or a challenge.
Oh! But... So I look down? I'm not gonna look down. I'm just gonna walk towards it. I'm gonna have my hand out.
Just
Fuck
play
it.
it cool.
Frick
Play
it.
it cool.
Listen. We're like cousins. I'm part goat. Not goat. See, look, I'm nervous. I'm a cow. Okay, let's do this. Hand out, cautiously just approaching. You know, I'm small. I like to pet you, please. It's gonna
Yeah,
get a little bit
you
closer.
you outstretch your hand and tentatively take a few steps towards the skeletal horse. You can see that its eyes glow with green, and have sort of empty sockets.
Did
As
it
it's
always glow with green, or is it's been glowing with green and I'm just now noticing?
it's been glowing the entire time.
Okay, cool.
And so as you approach, the horse actually takes a couple steps towards you and kind of attempts to sort of nudge your outstretched hand with its nose. But its nose passes right through you, skeleton and all.
Ah,
And you feel
it's
this
a ghost
feel-
skeleton.
you feel this intense cold just sort of immediately surge all the way up your arm. Though the horse just sort of nudges you slightly with its nose, and that's all.
I'm gonna coldly pet that horse ghost and then yank my arm back because it is cold.
Yeah, you sort of do your best to pet it, but you're mostly just making contact with
It's the
air.
motion.
You don't
It's the
feel
motion.
anything. Indeed, yeah, you make the motion, but you don't feel anything tangible in your hand. You just sort of feel just air, but your whole hand does have this intense cold. You haven't felt that kind of cold since you were back in the ice house with the snowman.
Want that? Hey, pony. I'm just gonna excuse me. What a good little pony. I wish I knew your name. Perhaps I could find your name out. That would be nice. Oh, don't mind me. I'm just gonna. And I touched the cart. Does anything happen?
The horse just kind of follows you as you walk, just making its way along beside you. But
I
nothing.
named him Daniel. His
You
name
don't-
is Daniel now.
Very well. You don't
you.
see it particularly react to you touching the cart. No. It just kind of follows along beside you, and just sort of stands next to you.
I think it's his nice horse. His name is Daniel. I don't know for real though, but it's Daniel. It's a good boy or girl. It's a good thing. It's a very good them.
They look like a Daniel.
They do look like a Daniel.
Daniel seems friendly.
I like Daniel. He's a little cold, just a little icy, but they beautiful. I'm gonna look through this now. I'm gonna
Yeah, so-
hop on it.
You hop up onto the driver's section of the carriage here at the front, Lola, and you can now kind of see there's these kind of plush cushions where the driver would sit, though they're now a little bit old and dirty with age. And from your position here, you can kind of look backwards into one of the windows that leads into this carriage. Wits, you're standing at the side of the carriage, and you can see where the passenger door would be, where one would enter if they were going to take a ride. And there's a window there as well. So both of you see this as you begin to examine the carriage itself. You can see a multitude of cobwebs all twisted up within it, but what catches your attention more so is the corpse in the back of the carriage.
I love corpses. All right.
It appears to be quite old, much like a lot of the other corpses you've seen around the keep. And this one wears a very resplendent and affluent-looking dress. Quite clearly a noblewoman's dress, as well as sort of sitting kind of lopsided on its head is a large, wide-brimmed sun hat.
Where's
I'm
the
this is
entrance to
darling.
it? Like with the door or whatever?
There's a door on either side. You can see the one
Oh.
door on the side here, and then kind of through the carriage, you can see that there's a similar door on the opposite side.
Yeah, we're just gonna try to open the door.
Yeah, there's no lock, so you just pry it open. So Queely, you're sort of examining the horse. You notice that it doesn't really react as Wits opens the door.
Okay.
Hello, corpse. Do you have anything for me?
You have to sort of step up onto these two little metal steps on the outside of the carriage that then allow you entrance up to the carriage itself. But now that you're inside, you get a little bit of cobwebs tangled in you, but along the sides of your jacket. But you're now able to take a better look at this corpse. So make a medicine check for me. Sybil, you're doing a similar investigation. If you kind of climb up the other side, so I will let you do it, Sybil, if you have a higher score. And then
Hopefully she does.
and then Wits will be helping you, so you can have advantage on it.
All right.
All right.
Funny.
You hardly even needed it, but very well. So, as you and Wits examine the corpse, Sybil, the thing that immediately stands out to you is the rather large stab wound on the stomach of the corpse, though there isn't any sort of instrument that caused it left in the wound. With a 20, Sybil, you estimate that the instrument that would have caused this is likely a dagger. And again, with your 20, you are pretty certain that that is what killed this person.
Oh, that's awful. I think she's the
This is
oh, sorry,
Darling.
Lola.
Oh no, you're good. I'm with you. I think this is probably Darling. But
Yeah.
didn't we find a dagger earlier in the castle?
Did we?
Yeah,
I
it's
feel
right
like
here.
we did.
It has been 3 weeks, so I can aid your memory if you wish.
For sure, Wits picked up a dagger.
Yes, you guys actually did pick up a dagger. You picked up a dagger off of a corpse that had been smashed in by a chandelier that had crushed it from above. And
Oh.
actually, if you recall, Sybil, in that previous session, that was actually the room where you first met the coachman. He'd been standing over that corpse.
Is the blade of the dagger about the same thickness as the stab wound?
I forget who picked it up, but it was probably Wits.
Yeah, he did.
So as you bring that up, Sybil, Wits, you pull out the dagger and you kind of compare the sizes. And again, you with that 20 and that 19, you're just full forensic science right now. And you're like, and you know confidently, yes, this was probably the dagger that killed her.
The coachman's going around. He says that thing over and over again. They took her from me. So
We found it on. Was it his? Was his body that we found it on though? Right?
I will add,
It was a body.
he did not say they took her from me. He just said took her from me. He didn't have the they, he didn't have the they part. Just to clarify, since it has been a while.
Oh, did he kill his own?
He either killed his own or he found her and decided to take the dagger and maybe go out for revenge with the same said dagger.
Yeah.
One of you guys can make a int check for me if you want an extra little reminder or something.
Okay, who here is the most brain cells?
It's helping you. That's probably be Wits.
Intelligence, yes. Brain cells, no.
Oh,
Does that check,
Oh.
correct?
Yeah, just check. I gave you some help for free, but we'll do one more.
Oop.
All right, 10 would be
10.
insufficient, so you're on your own.
Yeah.
But to continue, I wanted to let you talk a little bit about what you were discussing. I didn't want to interrupt, but to continue actually with your medicine check, Sybil, as there was a little extra part to it.
Oh man.
Because you rolled so high, you actually noticed something else. You notice that something else seems a little bit off about the corpse. As you examine for any other injuries, you notice that one of the hands, which is kind of just lying limp along the side of the cushions of the carriage, actually has a small little indent around its ring finger. A circular indent around it, but there is no ring.
Oh, her wedding ring then? Okay, so the coachman owns this carriage. He has a special someone who is taken from him. His corpse is in the office. A dagger that killed this woman, and her wedding ring is gone. Hey, Wits, when you were robbing that corpse, did you find any rings?
I don't think so. I didn't have all that much on it.
Ah.
Indeed, you did not find a ring on the corpse that had been crushed by the chandelier. And I believe, to just correct the record here, just to make sure everything is clear after a 3-week break, when you had investigated that corpse that was under the chandelier, it was not wearing anything resembling riding clothes.
What? Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
I remember. Yeah, we checked him out. He didn't look like the coachman.
He did not resemble him, no.
Yeah, I remember you like describing like coachman attire, but I was certain that you were talking about the ghost and not the body.
Yeah, the coachman wears sort of like a long leather coat and higher boots, whereas the corpse crushed under the chandelier was wearing a sort of nobleman's frock and clothing like that.
Right.
Who that could have been. Sorry.
Is there anything else notable in the carriage?
It was her husband.
Were they having like an affair? You try to put an
I
end
don't know.
to
It's a
it?
noble. It's a noble woman. And we found a noble dead man, and ghost happens to be by it. I don't know. I'm reaching here.
As they kind of explore the contents of the carriage, and as they sort of investigate the corpse sequely, the horse seems to get a little more anxious. You kind of have almost this innate understanding of horses sequely, and you notice that it's getting more and more anxious as they're sort of fiddling with the corpse. It seems to be
Yeah.
relatively protective over it.
I'll kind of walk over to the side of the wagon here. If you have business to do with the bodies, do it quickly. This one seems agitated.
But you do scan the rest of the carriage, and you don't find anything else of note other than dust and cobwebs.
I guess that's all that's in here.
Do you think we should take the hat?
What? Oh, I guess it is more of your costume cabinet
I
you have
am
going on with.
not thinking for costume, but maybe we show him a piece of his lover. We'll be like, "Yay, was this the girl?" I'm assuming it is, but just in case. Sorry, horse.
I guess might as well grab it in case if we see the coachman again.
I have a feeling if we take it, we're gonna have to run from the horse, though.
Mm-hmm. I don't know about you, but I'm not sure I could run from a horse.
I don't think I can either.
I can.
Yeah.
You definitely can.
Hard to say.
So what's your plan of action?
Horse distraction?
I mean, do we need this stuff? Do we like have an idea
don't-
of something we can
I have-
use it for?
I have no idea what the hat would be useful for. I just think if the coachman ghost sees it, then he'll be like, "Oh, that was my darling." Other than silence and whatever the hell he keeps telling wits.
Yeah.
I also think we should check out the chandelier corpse again, just to double check it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to yoink this stuff and pass it to me, I can hold
Eh,
on to it in case I need to dip out.
I don't feel confident with that theory, so I'm gonna leave it be. And if it's like does turn to something, we know exactly where to come back to. So
Yeah.
we good.
Okay.
I'm sure Horse needs a friend to see every now and then.
Fair enough.
Daniel's probably very lonely.
So the only other thing kind of in this southern courtyard, of note, that I described for Wits last time, and that, yes, that I'll describe for you now, as we're a little focused on the carriage. But there is an old gnarled, dead tree, just past the carriage, that is indeed, now that you're closer to it, covered in that black mold that you've seen before, climbing its way all the way up to its branches and withering it away.
So he was saying took her from me, right? Not they. It was just took her from me.
Yes, the phrase was just took her from me. I think he mentioned something about his darling, but that was all. He did not specify who.
I think
So
he
we know-
didn't mean
we know
like
that-
death, but sorry.
We know that the people in this place just like turned on each other, right?
Yes,
Like,
that was something you got.
Yeah. So I don't know.
That maybe he was jealous of the person crushed under the chandelier.
Wait, did
That's
we
what he
read?
meant by took her from me.
I thought we read in one of the diaries like noblewoman was like on board with the coachman, like she was into the coachman as well. Or did I just read too far into the note? And it was only coachman that liked the noblewoman.
I don't think that there was anything in that regard in your notes that you'd read.
Oh shit.
I don't think there'd been any mention of the coachman at all.
We did have something. I'm trying to remember this. It's been a bit. Something about Leopold being into a maid named Charisse, right? Did we figure out stuff with that?
Yes.
Wait, that was a snowman.
That was
wasn't
something that you
Ah, that
solved
was a
last session. You connected the snowman to being Leopold, of course, and then you'd found evidence in the maid's quarters that she did in fact love him back, as that was something that he had never known after being
Gotcha.
in love with her. And so you presented that evidence to him, which is what thawed him out and kind of freed him from his eternal prison there in the snowman, and granted you with those nice little mittens, as well as that odd glass orb that you'd found.
All right. Well, this coach stuff is out of my brain league. I'm gonna leave it up to you guys.
I feel like we know that the coachman likes a noble woman. It was an elf woman. Does anyone remember if it was elf
they're
woman
all
or just a
elves.
noble woman? They're all elves. Okay.
Yeah.
We know that he liked a noble elf woman. Now the question is, did she like him back, or did he go on a jealous rampage and ended up killing?
Well, what if
Or her.
one of the spirits in the theater, whenever they all appeared, was the noblewoman he's talking about?
You think?
Whenever we performed.
I think it's straight that far from. I guess he does do his like.
She's wearing a big old
Observation.
hat. Yeah. Well, noblewoman wearing a big old hat. So I don't know if we can get the ghost up here again, but we'll definitely check it out. I am stumped for the coachman.
You wind your way along the cobblestone path back towards the front entrance to the keep. and I presume you're heading inside?
Mm-hmm.
Very well. Then you make your way back along to those twin, massive stone doors, which are again left ajar, and you re-enter Briar Keep. Let me bring you over there. Back over there. And Spoon is upstairs now, so we can go over there. Let's get back to our other ambiance. That's the wrong one.
All right.
So, you make
Okay,
your way
sorry.
back into the entrance hall of the Briar Keep, and things are as you left them. Cold, empty, and abandoned. So, as you recall, there are paths north that wind along to the far back hall, as well as a path south as well. So, what is your direction of travel?
Okay.
Big brain time. Everyone put their brains
Nightmare.
together.
Okay. Nightmare horror office was south, right? I have no directional ability.
Wait, which place again?
Coachman with the
Oh, where we
chandelier
first saw him?
corpse.
Yes, that's south.
Should we go check out the body first? Re-examine.
You guys still have those amazing maps from last time?
Yeah, I'm looking at
Oh, yeah, I
it
forgot
right
about
now.
those.
Because if I recall, Sybil's was pretty accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
So if you still have
I
that,
more, though.
consult it.
How can you lose your own map?
Indeed, the room where that chandelier had fallen was to the south.
Oh, all right. Let's get cracking.
Very well.
We
You
investigating now.
make your way back along the
Mystery
hallway.
gang.
Back along the hallway to the south, to where the study, as I was calling it, and the lounge were located. And again, those doors line the hallway as you enter. The close one, as you recall, makes its way into the study, and the far one to the lounge. And creaking that door open once more, you find that shattered chandelier still sitting on the ground, caked in the dried blood of the corpse that it crushed. And the corpse is also as you left him.
Does the ceiling where the chandelier was, does it look like is the cable or whatever chain that was holding it, is the base still there, or did it completely fall down, the base and all from the ceiling?
It looks like sort of the chain that was holding the chandelier. One of the links just split. As you can see, part of the chain kind of still dangling from the ceiling, high above you.
Does it look like the end here? Does it look tampered with or just stressed, over time?
It does not look stressed over time. It looks purposefully split by something.
So then this guy was probably lured here by someone.
Or stood at the wrong place at the wrong time. And somebody was like, now's my chance!
Sure.
Someone with a dagger that was used to kill a noble woman. I wonder who would have a grudge.
Indeed. And again, as you investigate this this corpse here, wearing nobleman's clothing, though it's all sort of caked with blood and grime from time passing, and clearly again does not resemble the coachman. at least in his ghostly form that you saw.
Taking notes.
And Wits, I believe, now that I've consulted my notes, you would probably remember this. You did, in fact, find that dagger like clutched in its hand. In
Yes,
this
I do remember
corpse's
that.
hand. He was holding the dagger.
He came in. I think they got into like a fight before the chandelier got dropped on him.
Must have been.
That, or he was sneaking in to murder someone, and then that got set off and knocked him out.
I'm gonna examine his hands. I want to see them hands, both hands, if I can get to them. Let me see them hands.
One of the hands is unremarkable other than the fact that it is decayed with time. And the other does appear to have some of the fingers kind of broken, as Wits did have to pry that dagger loose.
Does he have any like insignias on his clothing? Any like medallions? Any rings? Anything like with any type of signet on it? I don't know if it'd be anything I'd recognize, but just anything.
Insignias? No, not in particular. He's not wearing really much jewelry, but is wearing rather fine-looking clothing. Certainly places him as affluent, but doesn't imply necessarily that he's any sort of king, any sort of affiliated with any sort of faction. He just appears to be a nobleman, elven,
Gotcha.
from what you can tell. No crowns or crests or anything like that.
I can't remember. Did the coachman react to him at all? Whenever, because we saw the coachman in this room as well.
Yeah, Sybil saw the coachman first when she entered, and he was just standing, kind of hovering over it and just staring at it. And as you recall, his face, as you kind of have seen it multiple times, is sort of trapped in this permanent smile combined with very sad eyes. And so he was grinning down at the corpse as you first saw him, Sybil.
Yeah, I wonder what he gets up to. Like, does he just wandering around right now?
I'm sure, but I think what we need to do is try to see if we can find that ring.
Is it on him? Like, is it on this guy?
Well, the hands are very broken and decayed, so I do not know.
You performed a thorough investigation last time looking for loot on this corpse. It was not.
Oh, yeah.
It was not on him.
Okay. We already looted the room, so the ring's not in the room.
Indeed.
What finger was the ring on with the elven lady?
No, it was the ring finger, like the wedding ring finger.
Okay, so it's a freaking wedding ring.
Did we check the bodies in the? What was it? It was one of the upper rooms. It was like the bodies were on the beds. Was it a maid room?
That was
that was the butler's
butler.
room.
That was the butler's room, and just to clarify, that was the northern rooms.
Yeah. Did we check those bodies though? I didn't know if like any maids or anything had stolen a ring.
You did spend some time checking some of them. I don't know that you necessarily touched any of them. I don't think that was what you wanted to do.
I know I didn't. I wasn't sure.
You looked around at some of them, but I don't know that you were looking for anything like that in particular. No.
Just trying to think of places where the ring would be if someone moved it.
But I will say, for your own benefit, you feel confident that you've thoroughly investigated this room, and can't really think of anything that you might learn from further investigation. Since you've done multiple investigations of this room.
I'm trying to think
The
of whatever
coach-
lead we have.
The coachman appeared in this room, and then he appeared in the weird mannequin room too. Do you guys think that might have some significance, like where he's
What?
appearing, or you
What's-
think he's just popping up to pop up?
What's that? You want to go back to the mannequin room? Okay.
I do not, but
I like the
like,
mannequin room.
maybe I was not enjoying it, but now I'm mindfully prepared for it.
I just
yeah,
don't
you
know what
did
to do
have
there.
you did have some dead ends. You did find that strange mannequin that you weren't entirely sure the purpose of. You did have the twin boar heads that you were planning on returning to, I believe. You had mentioned that in one of the previous sessions that you wanted to return and talk to them a little bit, but you hadn't done so yet. Just to remind you of your things that you suggested that you wanted to do in the past that I remember.
Did
and
we
then
ever close the door to the mannequin room?
I
I
believe
think
you.
we did. We
I
did.
believe Sequili
Thank
did
God.
when he left.
Thank God.
I don't think that
Um,
thing is following us.
And then you just have your multitude of locked doors, each with their own sigil.
Probably do have more questions for the boars, and by boars I mean just the blue one.
Yeah, I'm not talking to that.
I do not want to talk to the
asshole.
red one.
I'm gonna lick his eyeball again.
Okay, that's a get out
Well-
of context clip.
Well, the blue. I mean,
Somebody
I,
clip
I know
that
you
for me.
say you have questions for the blue one, but it's the only thing we know for sure is the red boar always lies. We don't know if the blue boar always tells the truth.
That's true.
Suppose that is a good point, yeah.
Either way, he's getting his eyeball licked, so I'm okay with either.
Okay, well then we'll just.
So, if your plan is to just head right to that back hall, I can skip you there unless you want to visit anything on the way.
I guess we can go straight to the back hall if everyone's fine.
I think so too.
Very
Okay, we'll ask the red boar not questions.
Then you wind your way along the southern corridor, past several doors that you've entered before, storage rooms, kitchens, guest bedrooms, and the old theater hall, and you eventually arrive back at the southern entrance of the back hall, where that strange, tangled up thorny plant sits at its center, and the massive door. This door again with no keyholes at all, no sigils, no keyholes, just a flat stone slab. Guarded on either side by these boar head stuffed trophies, one of which has its fur this odd reddish color, and the other has its fur an odd blue. As your prophecy from the past that you remembered sessions ago for chat's benefit, the prophecy that you got from the face collector after Martos kindly donated her face in order to get a fortune reading, did indeed say something about a red boar always lying. And the boars sit motionless as you enter. They just stare straight off ahead into the hall. What would you like to do?
Lick. That's it. Alright, I did what I wanted to do, guys.
Let's move on.
I'm just gonna pet the thorny plant for now and try to think of questions to ask the boars.
All right. You kind of reach out a hand and sort of pet the thorny vines of this plant here. Again, the vines themselves kind of all connect back to this central large flower, but there are also these smaller, more delicate looking flowers placed sort of within this little this planter as well, although they kind of sit underneath all this big tangle of thorny vines. So you pet the larger thorny vine, and you actually see it kind of like shudder and move slightly as you do, though it doesn't make any attempt to stop you necessarily.
All right, this is like the second time I've been in this room petting this plant. I'm just curious now. I'm gonna like pop my hooves up on the like edge of the planter there and just kind of lean over and see if there's anything in the center of the flowered area.
Okay. You can make a nature check for me.
Sure. Oh, my nature check's terrible.
Well,
No.
I can tell you the obvious as you reach up and kind of look over top of this larger flower in the center, where normally there'd be the center area of a flower. There is instead teeth.
Lovely.
This does not look like a harmless flower. It looks particularly carnivorous, Sequili, but that's all I can tell you.
Carnivorous. I got some rations. Probably like some dried jerky or something. I'm gonna throw him a piece.
All right, you take out a piece of sort of dried meat and toss it into the center of the flower there. And you see actually these petals kind of close and snap shut as if the a reverse process to a flower blooming as it all snaps shut. And then you just kind of hear this guttural crunching for a few seconds, and then it opens back up again. And the piece of meat that you threw in there is gone.
Nice. Good plant.
Fascinating. I wonder how it digests.
We can go put your head in there and see.
No, put yours in.
Only one way to find out. Dive in.
All right, if you say so.
Don't say that to the particularly reckless wits.
I was gonna say,
These past
Wits
few
is still poisoned.
Yes, I don't think anything cured your poison, so I think you're still
Yeah.
poisoned.
I don't think he's exhausted anymore because we took a rest. Well, no, that was a short rest, so maybe he is still exhausted.
Yeah, it was a short rest, so you do, I think, also still have that. That's what the one is.
Yeah. He'll feel a
but-
lot less exhausted if he goes in the plant, though.
But other than that, the flower just kind of returns back to its kind of motionless state. So what do you want to do now?
I want someone smarter than me to ask these boars some questions.
Alexis, and none of us have any.
All right,
Um,
let's get this over with, I guess.
Okay. Are you sure we're asking that one?
Well, at
We
least we
always
know.
lie.
Well, we can always ask it not questions. I mean,
Ask about the coachman. Ask if he knows the coachman. Coachman.
wait, I'm trying to be particular with this because if you were to ask a not question, he could say literally anything. But
No, Chibi, you don't. What question are you asking, and which boar are you addressing?
well, I guess first thing we need to, I guess, focus in on exactly what we want to know. So, are we asking about figuring out the coachman stuff first?
Yeah. It's on that.
All right, what particularly are we trying to figure out? Like, are we just trying to figure out, like, what he's trying to accomplish as a spirit?
They are.
If it's, that's a good point. Like, if it's revenge, he might have already accomplished that. So, I guess like maybe also who these people were might be helpful if we know, figure out more about like their relationships within the castle.
Maybe we could try figuring out how to get into those rooms that had like the snakes on it.
That would be nice to know.
I'm pretty sure we did ask him that, but that was before we knew or before we remembered that.
He said something about something being in the North Hall that would help us, right? Or was that the
That
blue
we'd
boy
find-
that said that?
I don't think that was anything that will help you.
He just said we wouldn't find anything in the North Hall that would interest us. And he always tells lies, so. Well, I'm gonna be honest. I'm kind of sick of you, sir.
As you direct a statement towards that boar, you just see both of them kind of begin to move and just kind of stretch their necks and kind of crack them as if they're a little stiff. And the blue boar actually just sort of close to you, Sybil, just sort of turns towards you, now animated and moving, and just says, "Ah, welcome back."
Hey. Alright.
Quick question. Did you say that it was kind of like, are they still like statue, like it's still kind of like stone stuff, or is it? Because I remember you mentioned like fur. So is it actual fur or is it like stone still?
No, they're not stone. They look like they look as though a boar has just been stuck onto the wall, like a living boar. Once they kind of pop to life. Before they looked like mounted, like taxidermied heads. But when they pop to life, they look incredibly realistic, as if they're just boar heads mounted on the walls. Now, the only thing off about them is the strange coloration of their fur.
Okay, not important to what we're trying to do, but Witch is gonna like scratch like at its neck, like kind of like a pet scratch, and say, "Oh, I do like that." On the red one, of course.
The red one just goes, "Oh, look at you! You solved the puzzle. Surely the door will open now."
All right, well, that's not the fucking question I asked, did I? Asked if you liked it.
Of course. Personal space doesn't exist.
Right, I kind of like this boar.
Welcome, Gwenichka. First time chat.
Well, on the subject of the thing we were gonna do, hey, you, sister.
Yes, you had something to ask of me?
Do you know the coachman? Do you know what he's been up to lately?
Coachman, you mean, the quiet fellow always, drifting about the halls?
Oh, yeah.
I know of him.
You know his, lady friend? Or, if he was mad at anybody?
He always has an odd expression on his face as he drifts his way throughout, but he's not given me any trouble. Lady friend, you say? He does often mutter about his darling. Though, I can't say that they exactly get around.
Before, did you ever see a, elven noblewoman in a large sun hat wandering the halls? Who was alive and not deceased?
That feels like a memory from very long ago. But now that you mentioned that, something springs back. Yes, a noblewoman, a large ornate sun hat. Yes. I think one of the queen's guests, a friend of hers. A noblewoman indeed, as you say. I do not know her name, I apologize.
Okay. Someone else we were curious about was a nobleman. He had a, dagger. What's has it, I guess? Not sure if that'd be like a recognizable thing to identify him, but...
If I remember correctly, it was like, it didn't look like a normal dagger. It looked like, I don't remember how to describe it, but I remember it being like just not normal. It just looked a little more maybe ornate.
Yeah, I can help with. You are indeed on the right track. I think you looked at it. You said you didn't sense any sort of magical element to it. It wasn't sort of some enchanted dagger, but it was It wasn't your average dagger that a mugger in a back alley would have. It was something kind of elegantly crafted, clearly elven in origin. So are you presenting it to the blue board to see if he recognizes it?
Yes.
He just kind of cranes his neck a little bit to look better at it and just says, no, I'm afraid I've not seen it before. But again, as I said, I don't get around.
I think if anything ever, like, unique about him, because he was kind of crushed under a giant chandelier and rotting clothes.
Someone was crushed under a chandelier. Sounds horrific.
There's a lot of really awesome stuff happening in this castle.
Well, I did think that perhaps something was off, but again, I don't get around.
Right. Now that we've asked him, do you know the coachman?
Right, dreadful fellow.
All right, so he was pretty chill.
You think he'd be capable of murder?
Are you asking the blue boy then?
Yeah, I suppose the blue boar.
Not something I've considered. He did have that odd expression on his face. It was not a gentle expression, that's for sure. But what little I'd known of the fellow, when he'd wandered the halls, he seemed a peaceable sort to me, but anyone can be driven to anything if they're desperate enough.
Okay.
Let's just repeat basically the same question to the red boar, regarding like the murder part.
Okay, hang on. There's like a million contradictions in this sentence. This is like a huge thing that you just asked him.
Okay, well, I guess rather to ease the burden on you, just asking him like.
Yeah, the red board just hurts my brain constantly. I regret putting him in this campaign every second.
I guess he did. Okay, I guess he just asked them. Do you think that that coachman he could commit a murder?
Well, I know that he definitely didn't do it. I was watching at the time.
He wouldn't have anything to do. I guess he probably didn't kill that guy under the chandelier, or with the chandelier rather.
Yeah, it's an awfully bizarre way of murdering someone.
Well, lad, as I was saying, I was watching at the time quite closely, so I know exactly what happened.
He
Alright.
didn't see
Oh yeah,
shit.
what's it?
He didn't see shit. Oh, that's a quarter.
Hey, boy, what number am I thinking of?
Is this some sort of game that we're playing?
I don't know. Is it?
I'm afraid I don't know, my friend.
We just squint at him. He's like, I'm watching you, boar.
One more question, I guess. You know of the Queen's friend who was here, the one with the large sun hat? Do you know anything about like what she was doing, or if she was meeting anybody else in the castle?
I believe just staying for a visit, as one does.
Do you know if she was married?
Hmm. I'm afraid I don't know that information. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm not happy with the fact that the only living people in this castle we can ask anything to are, no offense, dictionary, and not entirely truthful.
By not entirely, you mean entirely untruthful.
Oh, no, our friend over here is very. He's been very nice.
Oh no, I thought you were just referring like one at a time.
Oh no, he's
Yeah.
an asshole.
Yeah. I guess.
Love you too, lass.
Aw, thank you.
I think I know which one said that, Sybil.
I'm gonna lick his eyeball.
Oh, I know which one said it
Okay.
too.
Anyway, I guess the only thing is that like we know that one lies, but we don't know what the kicker for the other one is.
Well, it doesn't seem to me he's been super untruthful. The things he said make sense,
Hmm.
whereas what he said don't make any sense for him to know or him to claim. So I'm inclined to think this one is some truth.
Well, I thought that
That one's
too.
still
He might be truthful, but I also think like
He can lie.
it might be something
Maybe
else, you know?
omission?
Like it might be something else than other just being the opposite of the red boar. I mean, here, how about this? Hey Blue Boy. You said that if you don't exactly get around, right? You've only ever been in this room.
Indeed.
In that case, what exactly does that plant do?
Well, it's been sitting there abandoned for quite some time. Now I don't know, but I think that most flowers die when left alone. But that one seems to have done quite well for itself. It is growing all the while. I remember caretakers, gardeners, tending to it back in the day, before the keep went quiet. But the flower was much smaller back then.
Life finds a way.
I
I
suppose
don't
you
think
could say
that
that.
well.
Well, you mean you haven't seen how it grows or how it gets its nutrients?
Does it eat? What does it eat?
Well, I'm not an expert in plants per se, but this one does appear particularly nasty. I once saw one of the gardeners try to prune one of the little flowers there and almost had his hand taken off.
Why would they plant this in the
Oh.
Why would they plant this in the castle?
Everyone, take a step back, please.
I think I'm gonna look a bit closer at it actually.
The plant is trying to live its best life.
Can make
Well,
a
I was
nature
going
check.
to.
Can make a nature check if you want, Sybil.
Plant is
Okay.
friendly.
Friendly plant.
Enjoys pets and meat.
Uh,
Pats and meat.
Not able to give you much more information than you've already gained, unfortunately, Sybil.
Well, it's a living thing and it has to eat, I guess.
True, but he said that one of the caretakers tried plucking one of those flowers, and I just want to see exactly how truthful that is.
Oh my god.
And if you pluck one of the flowers, it'll.
Well,
You lose a hand, you lose a hand, man.
okay, well, I'm gonna lose mage hand if I lose a hand.
Okay, I'm
Yeah,
with
it's a
that.
better idea than what I was thinking of.
Alright,
Very well.
Yep. Back here. So quickly, I don't know exactly how far those vines reach. I'd be a little careful if I were you.
Plant is friendly with Sukili.
Okay.
Really feels confident.
So Witzel just use mage hand and just slowly try to pluck one of those flowers.
Yeah, slowly the spectral hand just kind of drifts its way towards the garden, and you You use it to attempt to pluck one of the flowers, and as soon as you just sort of grasp the stem, right before you're about to pull, the closest vine to it, just like a razor, whips out and slices straight through your mage hand.
Ooh. I'm gonna be honest, I
Alright.
kinda wanna see what those flowers do now.
You can make a separate nature check on the smaller flowers, Sybil, if you want.
Right?
This is,
Incredible.
Can I assist her? I've been like staring at this thing this whole
yes,
time.
yeah, sure. Why not? Roll it again, Sybil.
Okay.
You
Oh,
you
Sybil.
only get the one more.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
a 14 was the exact DC.
Oh, dang, okay.
So lucky for you. The flowers below. I can't tell you everything about them, but you can get a little bit of information on them. You kind of take some time to examine them, and they do appear to be vaguely familiar. Like perhaps you've seen them in a book before, maybe, Sybil. You're not able to conjure the exact name of them, but you do remember what section they were in. They were in the poisonous plants section.
Oh. That is a very unfriendly flower bed.
Right.
What do you mean? Seems friendly to me.
All right, go grab one then.
I mean, if you're planting a flower bed, and I'm not sure what this room would be used for, but it seems strange to specifically choose a vicious carnivorous plant and poison.
All right.
Language
So-
of flowers, I'm pretty sure that's a backhand slap to the face.
So I think the assumption I'm gonna work off of is the blue one will not lie, but it might not tell everything. Because it didn't say anything about it eating carnivorously, and it didn't give specifics on what would happen if you grab the flower.
no, he said it almost took a hand off of
He
a
did.
servant that tried to grab the flower.
He did describe that to you, but he only knows what he knows.
Yeah, I think he
Yeah.
just tells us what he knows, and he doesn't
Okay.
know much because he's
If you want to get a sense
rolled
of
to the wall.
the blue boar, one of you guys can make an insight check on him. If you want a better sense of him.
I have proficiency in that, but I wouldn't be surprised if I still don't have the highest one.
I would say it would make sense most for you to roll anyway, since you've been questioning it the most.
Very
I
well.
think Wits is the most suspicious person here.
All right.
I will add that he does have disadvantage on it though.
Oh God.
Oh yeah.
So
Ooh.
somebody else wants to do it then.
Well, maybe I guess it make more sense for Sybil. Wits has been more in at the red one than the blue
Yeah,
one.
Sybil, you have talked with him a little bit, so I'm actually going to give you a +2 to whatever you roll.
Okay.
Because you've been talking to him for a significant amount of time, so you kind of have a better sense of him.
I'm not sure what to ask him.
You don't need to necessarily ask him anything. You can just sort of
I don't.
insight check what he's been
Okay.
doing, what he's been saying the past while, just kind of scrutinize him a bit, get a sense of what he's been saying, and try
Okay.
to get a sense of him versus the other one in comparison. Oof,
Ooh.
a 6. These rolls have been absolutely abysmal.
Ooh! That one.
Then I can't help you. You're on your own for your own conclusions.
All right. I have another thing I want to do. Wits will use minor illusion to try to replicate that the little snake statues, like
Okay.
that was outside that door in front of
Yeah.
the blue boar, and just ask him, have you ever seen these before? What are all these about?
Yeah, you conjure the image of that statue outside of the locked snake doors, and the boar kind of takes a moment to examine them, the blue one, and says, At first I thought I did not recognize, but yes, there is a memory being carried through the hall. When we were first mounted, yes, I saw a door with this statue next to it.
Have you heard anything about it? Like anything other than just seeing it once?
I'm afraid that's really all I can help with.
Hmm. Do you know what's on the other side of this door? Or slab, I guess, but door, kind of?
Yes,
Or-
this door leads to the back courtyard.
But what would be back there that needs to be so protected?
Oh, well, when visiting the back courtyard, yeah, he almost kind of snaps into a routine that he almost seems like he's done a million times before, as if he's some sort of like tour guide for guests in the castle. Of course, if anyone wants to visit the back courtyard, then of course they can find the hedge maze back there, the beautiful fountains, and pay a visit to the greenhouse with all the resplendent plants. And if one wants to send a message, then of course just past the greenhouse is the dovecote.
Actually, I would like to do some of those activities. So how would I be able to get there?
Well, I'm afraid we are locked at the moment, my friend.
Well, who controls the lock?
Not me, I'm afraid. When we are locked, we are locked. He kind of actually like does like a little head motion at you as if he's trying to like make you come closer. Just kind of jerks his head a little bit. Now listen, my lovely acquaintances. There is a charm on myself and the door. I cannot actually tell you how to open it. I would love to. You all seem like very nice people, but I cannot actually tell you.
You said a charm was put on you?
Indeed, an enchantment, a spell. We manage the door and we keep it locked, but I'm afraid I cannot tell you. Cannot tell you how to access it.
Well, who put this charm on you?
That was quite some time ago. The memory it's fuzzy from back then. Do you have memories of when you were a baby?
I guess that is fair.
Ever talk to what? So your purpose is as tour guides, right? You tell people coming through the hall what was happening. Why? What's his deal?
He actually drops his voice again to a little whisper for just you two. Listen, to be entirely honest, I don't much like the guy.
Yeah, me neither.
He has a rather, let's say, coarse personality. Listen, hey, you don't think that... Look, I've been here a very long time. He starts to get on your nerves. You don't think you could maybe get rid of him for me?
I'm trying. It's tricky.
Well, he's got magic protecting him. Trust me, if I could have gotten rid of him, I already would do it by now.
Yes, I have the same magic on myself. It's to prevent people from, breaking into the door, but... I suppose violence will not work then. But I do not think I am immortal. I do not think I am invincible. I imagine he's not either.
Well, I guess we have to find whoever the source of the magic is if we want to get through anything. Because not even physical stuff works, nor magical.
I'm afraid that might be difficult, lad. Not seen anyone alive wander these halls in quite some time.
want to say that.
I'm thinking like we gotta backtrack some to try to see if we can look at what other stuff we can go through.
Okay.
Like,
So how confident do you feel that you checked everything in the guest room?
which guest room? The one where I got poisoned.
The poison room, yeah.
As you kind of
Sorry, I was just saying that I got poisoned a few times. I had to take a second to think which time.
yeah, there is an awful lot of poison in this castle.
Oh yeah, books.
As you're kind of like whispering with the blue boy, he's kind of like every once in a while you'll see him like as though he's like starting to say something, but his mouth almost like closes on him against his own will. He just as if he's struggling to talk. He seems to be perhaps trying to help you, but is entirely unable to.
What's gonna cast a message to him and say, does the magic keep your mouth from opening?
It only stops me from discussing certain things. He echoes back into your head.
Witzel cast message again. Can you try saying what you can't say like this and see if it works?
You get another kind of like struggled sets of grunts as he attempts to say it, but this time they sort of echo in your mind instead, and his mouth doesn't move at all.
So wait, these things are resist or whatever, they resist or have spells on them that prevent them from being damaged by physical or magical means, but what about that poisonous food that we found?
Would that be physical means?
I don't know.
We could try it. I thought about it earlier, but I wasn't sure.
We could,
Actually,
force feed them?
Sequili, as you say that, just sort of to the party, and you guys kind of discuss that, the blue board just kind of says, "Oh, I am famished," and then the red board just immediately goes, "Not me, I couldn't eat a bite."
Hmm.
Oh, you guys want to take a run down to the kitchens?
I will
Kitchen
just see the
sounds good.
kitchen.
Yes.
Kitchen.
Um,
Kitchen is nice.
Excuse me, Mr. Red Bull. What kind of meal would you like? Do you just hate? Like, what is some food that you just can't stand?
No, nothing for me, lad. I am completely full.
He
All right. Okay, you're getting cheese.
cheese.
All right, so you quickly make your way back along the southern hall, and make your way back to the kitchens. And the kitchens are as you left them, with that food still looking incredibly fresh, as if it was, again, even though it's now been quite some time since you last visited, it is still steaming and looks as if it just was cooked seconds ago. The ice for the shrimp still completely cold, and the pies still nice and warm. Candles still flickering in the dim light.
He's gonna grab this wheel of cheese and stick it in her bag.
Very well. You tuck away the rest of the cheese with the small slice missing, and tuck it into your pack.
Well, make sure Wits doesn't want to eat anymore first.
No, he's not going anywhere.
Wait, I just remembered that Witch still has the dried meat sash around his chest. I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, you did grab that whole that string of meat and just like wear it like a
Big grenade, like.
Yeah.
Are these onions?
Yes, they are onions. Yeah.
Witch is taking a single onion.
They're just sort of raw onions, uncut.
Perfect.
Yes, cut him in front of the red boar, make him cry.
Incredible. You know, that'll make Wits cry too. No, his eyes are
Well,
glass.
you know, we all make
Which
sacrifices.
is already poisoned and exhausted. Crying is like a minuscule effect at this point.
So you gather up what you need, and I'm presuming head back to the back hall.
Mm-hmm.
Very well. Then after a short little trip to the kitchens, you quickly return back to the door with the twin boars in front of it.
Hey, you like onions?
The boar just kind of looks down at you. Oh yes, my absolute favorite.
Good. Actually, I guess there's no way of which forcing his mouth open.
So what's your plan?
I think we should just tempt him with some delicious cheese. I'm trying to force him to eat something he doesn't want to.
It's just gonna cut the onions.
As you kind of start to pull out the food, the red boar is just like, oh no, like I said, I couldn't eat another bite, and he just opens his mouth wide. You can actually see him kind of drooling a little bit.
Bill, you do the honors.
He's going to stick it in his mouth. Oh, you mean, wait, do you mean cutting the onion? Or feeding him?
Oh no, I was gonna cut the onion and make him cry.
Oh, okay. I guess then Bull shoves a large chunk of this cheese into the boar's mouth.
Yeah, the boar just kind of starts to chew. Yes, just completely disgusting. And then just you see it swallow it down, and you see kind of the lump in its throat go down into almost nothing as it reaches the wall. And then the boar just kind of stares at you and says, well, I feel great, and then just falls limp.
Oh god.
And as the boar just, its head kind of smacks against the wall, falling limp, you hear kind of like this low rumble, and you kind of feel a little bit of a shake under your feet as the large stone slab begins to slide out of the way.
No way.
Oh my gosh.
Before going to the blue board, which is gonna spit on him. All right.
Are we
Oh.
spitting now?
Was that what you wanted?
Yes, thank you. Finally some peace and quiet around here.
Sorry we can't give you either the food, any of the food either, or it would do the same thing to you as it would to him.
It's alright, you do get a little bit peckish after years of sitting on a wall, but I've made it this far, I will make it further.
Oh. Which has one more apple left. Yeah, have this apple. This one's not poisoned, I promise.
Very kind of you. Now you place the apple into his open mouth and he just kind of crunches away at it. Thank you, lad. Just through a full mouth as he crunches away.
Alright, so what'd you say the door did again?
The large stone slab that was making up that door just sort of slid upwards into nothing and now is an open doorway.
Ooh. Let's go
Alright then,
through.
let's head on through.
Very well.
Defeat a boar.
I think that was one of the few NPCs that I think you were also relieved to see die.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't actually the way that opened the door. Jay was just tired of playing the red board. We came up with the alternate solution.
No, that was in fact the solution. The joke with the boars was that they were this like ancient riddle puzzle, but you just had to kill the dude. You know, the classic like sphinx of like, oh, one of us tells the truth and one of us tells a lie. The joke was that you just kill one of them.
Nice.
Oh.
So you now make your way out into the back courtyard, and as the blue board described it to you, You do indeed see a large fountain at the center of the courtyard, and it, like some of the other ones, just sort of pours water seemingly from nowhere.
It's actually pretty nice.
And just before you start walking around, you can see off to your north a rather large building that kind of stretches off towards the side of the keep. And it has this sort of foggy glass windows that make up most of its walls. And then if you extend your gaze down to the south, you can see a small path that eventually leads to this tall wall of hedges.
So I assume north's probably greenhouse, south hedge maze. Where to first?
Well, do we want to go through a maze or do we want to see what's in that greenhouse?
I think I'm gonna opt for the greenhouse.
Well, I do like a good maze. I think the greenhouse would be safer for now.
Greenhouse first. Easy to get lost in mazes.
All right. Then you wind your way around the fountain and make your way to the large glass building where a door sits on the one side of it, surrounded by two lanterns. Sibley, you kind of make your way up to the door and you try the knob. It is unlocked. And the four of you make your way into the greenhouse. One moment. Just want to check something. Chat, come and hang out with me on the other page while they wait. Alright, where'd you go, little friend? There. Perfect.
And
Thanks, Jimmy. So, you all make your way into a greenhouse, and as you enter, thank you, Chibi. As you enter the greenhouse, you find that the temperature around you grows unnaturally warm. For seemingly no reason at all. And you make your way into a building just completely packed with plants. Flowers of all shapes and sizes. And all manner of mushrooms, bushes, and even some vines growing along the windows. Though it does look a little bit overgrown. Some of the plants have grown a little bit out of their planters and have not been trimmed. Though they do all seem quite healthy.
That's good at least. Mold hasn't spread in here.
And the sort of blue light from outside just sort of streams in through the windows and illuminates what you can see. The two things that I would say catch your immediate attention as you enter. One off to your right, just sort of catches the corner of your eye, is a flower placed alone on a table that seems to almost glow by itself. The other thing that catches your attention is a small little creature. Perhaps some sort of pear, maybe a gourd, that just sort of waddles its way around on stubby little legs through the greenhouse as you enter.
Hello, little guy.
As you make your way over,
adorable.
as you make your way over towards it, Sybil, it just sort of stares up at you for a second. It's only about the height of your knee, It just kind of stares up at you for a second, and then it just outstretches its arms, as if waiting for a hug.
She's gonna try to pick it up.
Hug the little creature.
Very well. You you sort of bend over to be able to pick him up, and you kind of scoop him up as if you're giving kind of like a bear hug and lifting him up. Make a Constitution saving throw.
I always get scared every time he says very well.
Oh.
And that was insufficient.
Doc, give me my prognosis.
So as you reach down and scoop the small little gourd up, and sort of give it the hug that it was requesting, the small little kind of stubby arms and legs that it was using to walk around and that it was outstretching for a hug actually begin to sort of stretch out around you into these tangle of roots and vines. And they immediately just wrap around your neck and begin to choke you.
God.
All right.
Face
Oh
Dude.
my god.
So a failed Constitution save there is going to do you.
Your soul.
It's going to do you 8 bludgeoning damage as it just begins to pull tight around your neck, cutting off your air and your circulation. The rest of you see these vines just immediately just whip around her neck as she kind of gasps for air as this little creature just kind of dangles from the vines.
So Quilly will rush in and try to jam his pike, like poke the thing on its head and try to like create some space between that and her.
Yeah,
Turn him
it's
into a chick's kebab.
it's kind of it's hanging in the air by the vines that it's using to strangle Sybil, and it only kind of is just dangling and kind of shaking slightly, but I think combined with the fact that it's just kind of jittering around, plus the fact that you don't want to hit Sybil, make an attack roll for me.
Okay.
If this is a 1, you hit Sybil.
Oh dear God.
So maybe you're aiming a little bit wide, a little bit too cautious that you're going to hit Sybil, so you don't actually hit the little creature. You kind
Okay.
of stab at the air, and it's dangling its way kind of back and forth as it strangles her. And so you just hit only air. So this is going to be a loose turn order thing. So Quilly, you acted first, so you're just going to act first. So you can just do anything you do on a combat turn. And then when you run out of things to do, we'll move to the next person. If all of you do not succeed in getting this thing off by the time that you roll each of your turns, then Sybil will make another con save.
I mean, that was my action. I guess I could. I don't know. I don't want to say bonus action. Try to spin my pike around. So I feel
Yeah.
like Wits would be doing something immediately afterwards.
I mean, anything you can do on your turn. We're just going to do it in turn order just so that you're not interrupting each other. But anything you would do on your turn, feel free to do it.
There, I guess I'd do the bonus attack with it.
Yeah, go for it. All right, that one hits. Roll your damage. All right, so you, after missing the first time, you spin your pike around and hit it with the other end. And this time you connect, and you hit it particularly hard, and you just kind of carve off a whole piece of it that just sort of splatters across into the shelf behind it.
Ugh.
And so now it's sort of missing like a whole section of its side there that's now splattered against the table. But it's still dangling from Sybil.
All right, that's me. I'm done.
All right, who wants to go next?
I think Witch would like to go next.
Very well.
Did you say that it's like dangling on like a vine, like itself, because it's suspending itself some?
Yeah, it's sort of suspending itself by the vines that it's using to strangle Sybil.
Is it like multiple vines or just like it's attached like at one point?
The vines all kind of grew out of its arms and legs, so there's sort of 4 vines that all combined into this big mass that wrapped around her throat.
Oh, okay.
So it's it's grown these vines that are way too big to have even fit inside of it before, and are just kind of using some of them to restrain Sybil and the rest to just slowly strangle the life out of her.
Okay. I thought it was gonna be like, dang, I was about to pick it like an actual pear.
Not
No.
quite. No.
I meant like cut it off, but yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, they're
what's
quite
this-
sturdy vines, but the little creature is still dangling from them, so it's still there.
Which is gonna try to stab the little creature.
Yeah, with your dagger, go for it.
Yes. 18.
18 hits.
3.
A 3 is just enough. So tell me how you kill this thing.
He is going to. Well, you said like a chunk of it was already gone, right?
Yeah, it sort of has like its whole like if you imagine if it had a rib cage, like its whole right rib is just completely blown out, and it's just a big like almost like a bite mark in its side
Mhm.
that Sequilia is just completely blasted apart onto the to the wall behind it. But you still has sort of like a little head, and you can still kind of see the semblance of a body.
Yeah, which will stab it like right where that chunk was taken out of, like right through it.
Yeah, you stab kind of into the fleshy area where there's a bunch of kind of vegetable matter just kind of dripping, and you just sink your dagger right deep into there and just kind of give it a nice twist. And the creature just kind of lets out this very high-pitched little squeal, and then slowly you feel the vines start to release their grip around your throat as the creature just falls motionless, splattering on the tiles below.
You little liar!
You kind of turned it into jam. It's kind of like a jam now. We could put it on toast or something.
All right, be my guest.
I'm going to stomp on it.
Oh, you don't
Uh,
want chew toast.
Yeah, you take a second to just stomp on it. You just kind of turn it to complete mashed slime on the tiles, unrecognizable as a creature.
Oh, I really liked pears.
I'm never eating pears again after this.
All right. You said we had noticed this little glowy boy over here, right?
Yeah, it gives off this kind of purple and pink glow, and it just kind of caught the corner of your eye before you directed your attention back to what was moving around in here. But as the creature falls dead and Sybil is now able to breathe, you recall the plant growing on the far side and direct your attention back towards it.
Which is mainly interested in it because it's glowing.
Lola, what are you up to?
Oh no.
I'm scooping some of the jam in my pocket.
Yeah, it's now just like a pear jelly.
I want some jelly in my pocket.
Very well. Yeah,
Some
you-
Mardo's
jelly.
habits.
I'm presuming you're not taking the time to find like a container for it, just putting it in your pocket.
Nope, it's like just in pocket. It's a jelly pocket now.
Alrighty, very well. Jelly pocket.
Jelly cap?
Hmm?
I don't know who that is, but if I did, he
It's
sounds
a reference
horrifying.
for the true Whispers fans out
His
there.
name.
Shout out to my boy Jellycat, the real OG. Alright. So, Wits, you arrive at the table first, but the others follow. And so, a single flower pot sits at the center of this wooden table. And it's just kind of bathed in the... Well, you're not exactly sure if it's moonlight or sunlight that cascades in through the window here, but it has this this bluish tinge to it. But the flower that sits in this solitary pot has these very delicate-looking petals of this very deep purple, and the very center of it just gives off this very light glow, sort of a bioluminescence. Lola, do you need me to bring you back?
Yes, please.
I didn't know Lola knew invisibility. Oh
the-
god.
The,
Big
the,
Lola.
Trying.
the pear jelly had an additional property. It teleports you into the infernal plane.
This is actually a
Reminds me
duplicate
kind
of
Torchwood
Lola.
jelly. Oh, sorry.
So yeah, you take a look at this flower clearly, and it seems perhaps important, rare, or potentially valuable because it's kind of placed in its own little display quite prominently in the greenhouse. But unless you want to do any checks, that's what you say.
Does it appear that? Because you said it looked like it was glowing, right?
Yeah, it has a bioluminescent glow from its center.
Okay, I didn't. I was gonna ask if it was glowing like it looked like it was glowing, or if it looked like it was like that because of the light reflecting off of it.
No, yeah, it's specifically a pink glow from the flower itself,
Right.
but only kind of the center part. The petals themselves are this very deep, rich purple that do not glow.
All right, which wants to know if it's magic or not? So he would like to do an Arcana check.
Very well, go for it. Disadvantage request.
Oh, damn! Damn!
Unable to really determine whether or not it has any magical properties.
Hey, Sibyl, unrelated. Do you know how to cure poison?
What'd you do?
Asking for a friend.
I don't know how to cure poison.
Off.
I can heal you.
No, it's fine.
Wits. So Queely can help with poison.
Okay, here, let me go show you to my friend who needs help with it.
Wits, we know you're poison. Sweating. Ever since eating food.
What do you mean? That food was great. Just heal me.
Understood. I will use... how much do I have to use of this? 5 to neutralize a poison of my
Yes.
lay on hands.
Very well. Yeah, you just kind of place one of your hands on his forehead and just channel your natural magic through him. And Wits, you feel that little bit of a chill and kind of the aches and pains and shakes that you had begin to fade away as Sequili cures you of your poison.
Thank you, Sequili.
Happy to help.
He says that very begrudgingly, by the way. All right, Mrs. Plant. Learn about plant, please.
You're looking better. Okay, he's going to check it out. And do better than she has lately.
Very well. With a 22, you again kind of think back to some of the studies that you've done, Sybil, and some of the books that you've read, and in the back of your mind, all of a sudden you think, wait a second. It seems familiar. And you've heard rumors about a rare plant like this. And they're hard to grow. They only grow in very certain conditions. And they're hard to maintain. But once they fully bloom, as you imagine this one has with a 22, they do in fact have magical properties. In fact, as you think back, you recall the specific name of a flower like this. This is a doom bloom.
What magical properties may Doom Bloom provide?
Yeah, with a 22 actually. Just give me one moment while I scroll through my notes. Very well. Yeah, with a 22, you actually kind of think back and you remember the page that you read it on. And you begin to sort of kind of recall bits and pieces of what it does. So, when picked, one can use a doom bloom to speak the name of a creature or a location that exists on the same plane of existence as you, and duplicate the effects of a scrying spell on that creature or area. And scrying, of course, has a save involved on it, and if it fails the save, then it will consume the flower and will use up its single use. But should your scrying not succeed, the flower may turn against you. Though, it won't destroy the flower should you fail it.
Who's gonna relay that back to, Birdie?
So yes, it duplicates the scrying spell, but if you successfully scry on somebody, then you use up the flower. If you don't successfully scry on somebody, then the flower may harm you, but you then get to try again later.
And scrying being essentially spying on somebody on the same plane as you?
Indeed.
Dude, scry on Beira. We know what she looks like. That's at least some bonus.
Yeah. This thing is very, very useful. But, want to use it now? We should hold on to it for later.
Yeah,
We know she's on this plane.
with your 22, Sybil, you estimate that plucking it will not kill it, and that it is in full bloom, so it will have these magical effects. It doesn't need to grow anymore. So you can pluck it and safely take it with you if you decide to.
Right. I think that we should plug it then.
Alright then.
Agreed.
Sybil is going to delicately take the flower and pick it off of the plant. And,
Yeah,
could you... Right?
You gently sever the stem, and the flower retains that glow that it has as you hold it in your hand.
Right. So, who wants to hold on to this? You can do it if you want.
Yeah, just whoever wants to hold on
Wait.
to it.
Sorry, say that again.
You can hold on to it if you guys want, or one of you could hold on to it.
Well, you're the plant expert, so I think you maybe should hold on to it if you're okay with that.
Okay.
Agreed.
I'm gonna put it in her bag.
Very well.
Lola, find anything interesting?
Oh
Actually,
no, I
Lola.
found a book.
Actually, Lola.
Ha ha.
As the others are examining the flower at the center of the greenhouse, you've been kind of nosing around at some of the other plants growing here, and you actually notice something a little bit odd about this one too.
Uh-oh.
It's at first just looked like sort of a tangle of vines, but then you notice that something's actually sort of growing, almost like a different plant growing at the center of these vines, sort of sticking up straight, kind of the way like a bamboo would, just straight up through the other vines. And as you sort of examine them, you notice that they actually look like very thin, very miniature pine trees.
Huh.
And there were 3 of them sitting side by side.
Sybil. Sybil. Weird pine trees, baby pine trees.
One sec. She's going to extremely awkwardly climb over this table and get over here.
Yeah, you hop over the table past the book and take a look at these strange plants growing. You can do another nature check.
Right?
All right, 23.
Woo!
And good.
Got all the bad ones out early.
You think back on your studies on plants, and you recognize these ones too. They're a very sort of odd plant that most are mostly grown and not necessarily always naturally occurring. They're sort of a magically grown plant that people often specifically make rather than just something that they pluck from the wild. And these are tiny little trees that are actually magically planted to grow into spruce arrows. And as you kind of muse that out loud, Lola, you realize that these tiny little thin trees, the trunk of the tree is as thin as the shaft of an arrow, and the point of it where the pine needles are form an arrowhead.
Nature weapons.
That's actually a really interesting mental image.
Mm-hmm. They're not baby pine trees. They little nature weapons.
Nature? Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
look. Yeah, look. It's an arrow. See?
Yeah. Do either of you know how to shoot a bow? Because I absolutely don't.
I have a short bow, but do I know how to shoot it? Nah. Do I know what's gonna happen? Nah.
We'll see.
I only like big arrow to stab with, not
Oh,
throw or shoot.
get it, Sequilla. You do the stabbing. Am I the only one with the short bow?
I think
Snapsies.
so.
Yeah,
Alright.
you've used a short bow before.
Oh, I know. I just know if anyone else has used a short bow.
So do you want to pluck the 3 spruce arrows?
I'm gonna pluck one.
Yeah.
If it's safe, I'm gonna pluck the rest.
As you kind of pull one out, there's only a tiny bit of resistance as you kind of pull it out of the earth. But you notice the roots of it are actually just kind of formed perfectly into the tail of an arrow.
Sybil, would you know, is this just a normal, cool-looking arrow, or is these like something special arrows? I don't want to waste these 3 arrows.
Yeah, with a 23, Sybil.
Yeah.
You kind of take a closer look at the bristle of needles that form the arrowhead, and you surmise that if they were fired like an arrow out of a bow, when they hit something, they would burst on contact and send a shower of needles outwards.
Cool. Relay that information to Lola.
Oh, they little bombs. These are built for damage.
Arrow grenade, arrow grenade.
Weapons of war.
Arrow shrapnel grenade.
Nature kills. Alright, well, that's pretty cool.
So would you like
And
to?
now,
Would you like
got
to?
the book.
Would you
And
like
the
to pluck
book.
the others?
Oh yeah, I'm plucking all of them.
Very well.
Be all mine.
Then you now have 3 spruce arrows.
Nature is deadly and beautiful. Praise Athar.
All right. The book itself appears to be just sort of like a book on horticulture. It's just all different types of soils and how to best cultivate certain plants. There's a couple different pages on different plants that you kind of start to recognize in here. There's some poisonous mushrooms it warns you not to eat. There's just kind of various harmless bushes and flowers. A specific page actually describes the spruce arrows to you in much the way that Sybil did. So you don't learn anything more. Sybil nailed the role. So and then
She's going to steal that. Oh wait, sorry. Continue.
and then of course there is an additional page on the Doombloom towards the very end. And the page itself just warns caution upon using it, but describes much of what you remembered from your own studies.
Anything on whatever
Yeah,
this
I was about
is?
to say.
Sorry, what?
Anything on whatever that thing that's
The-
currently
the
chilling in
man-
the corner and in
Mr. Pear
Lola's
asshole?
pocket?
No, actually, there's no page on the pear friend.
Where did it
Whatever-
come from?
Whatever it was, perhaps maybe he wandered in from the surrounding wilds.
It's okay. I have a key
Wild
for it.
pear.
I mean, it is a very nice house for a wandering plant. You have a lot
Oh.
of friends.
Oh, door.
Yeah, she's stealing this.
Steal the book.
Yeah, you tuck the book away for sure.
You can put your own little notes in there.
Huzzah, Isabel.
Yeah.
Thievery. Glad to see I rubbed
It's
off on you.
It is acquiring.
It's actually
not
more
stealing.
grave robbing than thievery, I think.
Yeah.
I suppose that's accurate. Indeed, as Lola has astutely observed, on the far end of the greenhouse there is in fact another door, made of wood. And Wits, as you reach for the knob, it is unlocked and swings open.
In we go, like the marching spoon.
Actually, as you open the door,
Uh-oh.
out you go,
Oh, okay.
back out into a yard.
God, that scared me with that. Actually,
I know.
I got
Actually, the door eats
There's
you
a-
whole.
Well,
There's
there's a
door
little bit
mimic.
of door PTSD. In my Curse of Strahd game, we had our first character death due to
Ah.
a door in the Amber Temple.
Ooh.
It was,
Excellent.
the guy who plays Proud Pool in your campaign, Jason, he lost his bard.
All right, so you make your way out of the greenhouse and back out into the yard. And as you look around, you notice that same fence that stretches around the whole compound. Off to your left, off to your right, the towering keep itself. And directly in front of you is a small kind of circular, but not incredibly tall, almost tower. It only stretches maybe about 2 or 3 of your own height. Again, not a towering building, but it's structured kind of like a little circular little tower. And on the very far side of it, you all recognize those massive tangle of thorns that blocked your entry when you were peeking around the servants' entrance before Sybil. You estimate perhaps you're on the opposite side of it.
Never has good juju connected.
The tower that does not tower.
Bad juju.
It's like a gazebo.
I thought it was one of those, like, bee hut things, you know?
I thought it was gonna be a chicken coop.
Oh, well. Suppose it might be similar in premise.
Deadly chickens.
Oh no. I wanna
Chickens,
deal
but
with
they have
any-
daggers for beaks.
Chickens are scary, man. They're so scary.
With you going first or me?
I can go ahead.
All right. Then there's a small wooden staircase that leads up to the door, and it's kind of an old-looking, relatively rickety-looking door. But you swing it open, no lock or anything involved, and find yourself
Ah.
inside a dovecote.
Ugh.
Oh. Oh.
The wooden floor is
Oh.
scattered with bird droppings and feathers, as well as you estimate the bones of several small birds, including the corpse of one which is kind of caked in dried blood. On these tables all around the tower itself, you see these large iron bird cages, some of which also filled with skeletons. These large sacks sit lying adjacent to all of the tables, just kind of piled up against the wall. What do you do?
Oh god. I'm gonna go over here and take my pike and just kind of take the butt end of it and just kind of bat the bird corpse like over to the doorway.
As you kind of begin to poke at this corpse, you hear just the fluttering of wings behind you, and as you turn your head, you just immediately see the ghostly visage of a dove just flapping right at you, and actually passes right through you, and you just feel really cold for a moment as it immediately circles back and just kind of continues to dive bomb you. Not actually harming you, but giving you this cold sensation every time it crosses through you.
You should not have touched the bird.
Is this one yours? He'll point to the body and then look to the ghostly bird.
It doesn't react. It just kind of continues to circle around you.
Was going to bury body, but
Maybe put it back in the cage. Or just
This one
don't
looks
touch it.
newer than the other
Fine
one.
there.
Eventually,
Let's pick one of these
the
feathers.
bird gives up and just kind of continues to circle around the entire dovecote, just filling the room with the noise of flapping wings. Sorry, what were you doing?
Picking up feather.
Yeah, you grab a little feather. It looks decently old, but still intact.
Hey, Lola.
Oh no, what?
What's this gonna just fucking flutter it in her face and try to tickle her?
Joke's on you, Lola.
Do we need
no
to make a tickle resist constitution save?
tickle resist.
Unless it's part
Whoa!
of... That's pretty solid.
What would that be against?
I mean, we can just say that's sufficient if you can't think of anything to roll.
That's fair, yeah.
I think that's a
Yeah.
decent that's a decent save, so I'd say it's sufficient.
And whatever.
I laugh awkwardly to make you feel better. Stop.
Isabel, can I borrow those snowball gloves?
Yo,
As you're
Fine, okay.
as you're passing over the snowball gloves, Queely, you examine the burlap sacks here, and as you kind of open them, you find them to be filled with birdseed.
That's what I figured. I was just making sure there weren't any, I don't know, correspondence or anything in any of these.
And the ghostly dove actually flutters over to the open sack now that you kind of unfurled it, and it just kind of rests along the side of it and kind of pecks at the seed. But as it pecks at the seed, its head just goes straight through it each time.
oh. Well, that's just sad.
Your time has passed to eat, little one.
And so as you can see, there's a bunch of bird cages all around the hall, each kind of with skeletons and bird droppings within them, as well as bundles of feathers and such. What would you like to do?
To be honest, I'm curious as to why this bird is in a
Bloody
less of a
state.
state of decay than these birds. Do a medicine check on it? Like observe as to what exactly killed it?
It is decayed. It just perhaps doesn't look starved to death like the others. So what's your course of action?
I'm gonna check the little feet of it. Maybe doves. I feel like doves are messenger birds. Or a wedding bird.
Yeah. Release them when guests are on the grounds to look pretty and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but would they build an entire building for that?
I don't know what nobles do. I don't know how they spend
Yeah,
their
that's
time.
true.
on money.
Rich
Yeah,
people
it
are
is a pretty
crazy.
ornate center. There's probably a lot of events here.
One of you can make a history check if you want.
Sukuli would not know this. So.
Yeah, if you feel you
Oh.
wouldn't know it, then you don't have to make the check. But yeah,
Nope,
with
we're fucked.
the number I picked in my head was 12, so both of you understand this. A dovecote would be built for messenger doves. This would be where they stay and where they'd be released from, and this is where they'd know to return to.
Maybe this one returned after all these other ones had.
Yeah.
Yep, that
Is
is.
there no message tied to its little feet?
No, you don't
Just
find
the
a
dead
message.
decay- Woo! Okay. Dead
So
birds.
then it delivered its message.
A fair estimate, yeah. So, what would you like to do?
I want to bury that bird. I don't know what everyone else wants to do.
can bury the bird. I'm gonna feed it. I'm gonna get a handful of seeds and just put it on the counter. Just so I don't gotta see it go through the bag anymore.
All right.
That is
Yeah, it kind of
depressing.
flutters back up and pecks at the seeds on the counter, but again, its head goes right through the counter too.
This is so sad.
If you want to bury it, there's a shovel in the greenhouse.
Good idea.
Let's just go run and grab it while Sequoia's getting the bird.
He's just gonna take the butt end of his pike and just continue kind of batting it out the door.
Pick it up.
No, dead birds carry disease.
I mean, that's true, but it just it's a dead thing when it lived once and you're
Lola.
just kind of poking it. I'm sorry, I'm gonna
I
look
can
over here
only
now.
Sequila can only cure disease one more time.
Lola can protect from poison. That's all Lola does.
It's
I'm
not
picking up the damn bird.
disrespect.
I'm picking it
Okay.
up. It feels
Okay.
disrespectful.
You pick up.
There's good intentions. This feels very disgusting, by the way. I mean, not that dead bodies are disgusting, but they're disgusting.
All right, so
Yep, dead bodies.
you pick up the body of the little dove and carry it back outside.
Yes.
Alrighty.
Which would have left before
Wait,
they
wait.
did the whole poking it with thing to go get the shovel.
Lola, need to find nice spot for burial.
Yeah, there were shovels in the greenhouse, so you can grab one quick bits.
You just grab it and then. I guess you don't need to go in there real quick. He just that's all he does. Unless if the shovel has like poison or something.
Okay, yeah, so you run back and grab a shovel and quickly bring it back to the others. And Lola, you pick a nice spot out in the grass somewhere. In the gardens of the Briar Keep. And
We're just holding it. So why do you want me to dig?
I'm debating still. I guess here would be fine.
All right,
We'll put it next right here.
dig. Dig. He's digging.
Yeah, I'll help dig whenever you get tired.
yeah, you spend some time to dig a small hole. It's not a large bird, so it'll be pretty quick to just dig a hole for it.
Right, digging complete.
Place the little one here, Lola, please.
Oh, it's coming in for its final landing.
Oh my god! Horrible.
Okay, I placed it. Final resting. Had to have one more fly.
Little airplane noises.
Sequila will turn around backwards and kind of like rake the dirt over it with his hooves, like kicking backwards.
Yeah.
And then pat it down with his front hooves.
Yeah, you spend some time to bury the small bird and make a little grave for it.
And play with its body.
Athor guide you in the afterlife, little one.
Watch over Medusa for me.
Yeah, you say a small prayer for the little bird.
Amen.
Are there any actually give me just a second. Are there any like rocks around?
Any what?
Rocks.
Oh, rocks. Yeah, you can find them kind of scattered throughout the courtyard, but they're not particularly big. They'd only be as big as maybe the palm of your hand, or smaller.
Right.
Yeah, flagstone? It's not like anybody else is using them.
Which will just like pile up some of the rocks on like the spot. Make like a little grave.
Yeah, sure. You make a small little grave out of a pile of rocks where you buried the bird. And say your small little prayers, and then as you step back from your dove funeral. What do you want to do now?
All right, let's go to the maze.
Oh, maze time.
Wait, for
His
real?
name was also Daniel. Oh yeah, we have this bit.
Okay.
It feels as though we are missing something, but we're just gonna keep going.
I've had enough of birds after Lola pretended it was like a toy airplane or something.
I was giving it its last flight.
And you said me batting him around was disrespectful.
I was granting its wish of flying one last time. Imagine
head-
being able to fly and then having that stolen from you.
My
I
my
was
head
helping
canon
it.
for that is just like Lola holding it with its wings out and it's going like meow.
Lola, he's been flying. His ghost has been flying. He just can't
No.
eat.
Not his body. He can't feel the wind on his face, but then he could. I did that.
Oh.
Alrighty then. You make your way back into the greenhouse then.
Yeah, which will just like prop up the shovel like here.
Yeah, you take a moment to just kind of place the shovel back kind of in the general area you found it. And wind your way back in between the plants. Sybil, as you kind of walk your way along through this greenhouse, just because you walked this direction, for just a brief second, you think you heard something and you kind of freeze in place. And you kind of look over at the others. The rest of you notice Sybil freeze for a moment. And then you hear it once more. It's this low kind of strange growl. And as you kind of try to focus, just as you were considering on whether or not you want to make a perception check, suddenly, one of the glass windows of the greenhouse shatters. And through the shattered window jumps what at first looked like a wolf or a dog. Then you notice that it's sort of more of a skeleton of a dog. And it's a tangle of vines and flowers that seem to be animating it as it jumps through. And as this one leaps through, several more windows shatter all across the greenhouse as they break their way through and jump in. Bless you, Chibi, for understanding the reference. And the wolves, the leafy skeletal wolves, jump their way through the windows, all growling and drawing close to you. Roll initiative. Yeah, so
Yee.
Oh my god.
yeah, so
Nice.
you right.
Love that game.
Chibi, you're also right. That was a very purposeful Resident Evil dog jumping through window moment. Alrighty. Now we are at like 2:45, so there's no way we're getting done this encountering time. So I think we might just have to say it's better to leave it for next time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we might go for another 40 to 60 minutes, and
Oh god.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
that's typically encounter time.
Yeah.
So
Easy. We'll just one hit all of them.
yeah, surely. So we'll leave this for next time. We'll pick right up again with those initiative rolls. I'll jot them down now, and then we'll have them all ready to go, and we'll leap right back into the action on the next session. How does that sound?
It sounds good.
Sounds good.
All right, Sybil. 8. Lola. 11. Squealy. Oh, Lola 14, sorry. I was looking at the wrong one. Squealy was the 11.
Do you have third level spells yet, casters? Or are you still second?
So second. I don't think we get third
Second.
until next level.
5. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
There's so many third level spells that would come in handy in this place.
Yeah, like fireball.
Oh, speak with dead.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a wizard. It's like the It works. It works everything. I promise.
So, we will pick up again at the start of this combat encounter on our next session of Whispers in the Woods. Now then. Is there anything that immediately comes to mind for next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern that will interfere with the session?
I think I'm good.
Nothing off the top of my head now.
If anything changes, you can feel free to let me know and we'll adjust, but we will pencil in a go for next Tuesday. And again, 7 p.m. Eastern. The next stream on the channel, unless... Actually, I don't think they can make it this week. Yeah, I think it's... Caesar Sand is going to be moving to Thursdays, but I don't think that they can do this Thursday. I think they need an extra week to change work schedules. So if there's no Caesar Sand on Thursday, then I'll do a stream. We'll make some maps, something like that. We'll do some viewer suggested map making. So on Thursday, I'll do a stream probably around 7 p.m. Eastern. And you guys can show up, and describe for me whatever environment you think would look cool, and I'll make a battle map out of it. That's always a fun time. And we'll have a finished product by the end of it. So, that'll be the next stream on the channel. Right now, we have less campaigns running just because Silversong wrapped, and I'm in the midst of starting up the next ones. But I actually have been in contact with people who are interested in joining and playing a campaign with us here. And so the chances that one of those will start up within a couple weeks is pretty high. So look forward to those. I can't tell you what it is yet because my plan is to actually, once they get their party together, to just let them pick. I have 3 plots prepared. So I might just let them pick which one they find most interesting. And then the other ones will just be given to the next party to start, and they'll get to pick. And then the next party to start will get the 3rd one.
Very cool.
Because I had 3 good ideas, and they all just kind of ended up being prepped at the same time. The way my brain rattles around in my skull, I just... I tend to bounce around sometimes between things whenever inspiration strikes. So...
Are they new locations, or
what do you mean by that? Sorry, what was the question?
locations that haven't
Been seen on
previously been yeah.
Yes, actually. I'll do a brief little teaser of them since I can kind of describe that. One of them is in Eldrenor, so the island that you guys have seen a lot of. And it is actually a town that we haven't visited yet, but we've heard of. Those who have been watching the channel for a very long time might know the Fresh Meat in Prison Streets campaign with the group The Brass Hand. They did some stuff in Lucens that essentially changed quite a few things for that entire kingdom. So we're going to get a small little visit to one of the cities, or one of the towns that we haven't visited yet, Althea, and see maybe some of the fallout of what occurred at that masquerade ball that they went to. That involves one of them. The other 2 are in Bastila. So they will be in the new continent. One of which will be starting in Rainbridge. The other just outside of Darcy. But I'm not going to tell you the plots because you'll see those. You'll see those eventually. Get excited. They're all interesting, I promise. Each of them has a new concept that I'm trying to introduce to the world and explore a little bit more. So each of them will definitely evolve the world in interesting ways, that's for sure.
Bastila looks sick. I haven't even read up a bunch on this yet.
There's a ton of stuff in Bastila, so there's a million things to explore. This is the very start of it. Hello, Lola. How are you? Welcome to the stream. We're actually just wrapping up, Lola. But thank you for stopping by anyways. Yes, anybody who is even remotely skeletal is always welcome here. So yeah, the 2 of the new ones will be exploring some parts of Bastila, but there is so much stuff to explore in Bastila that we'll be doing campaigns there for quite some time, but I don't want to neglect Eldrannor, so there'll still be bits and pieces there. We're also going to get some Glimmering Isles stuff in the future eventually too. I do eventually want to do some cool Ikamura stuff, but again, we're waiting on some assets for that, so that I can make the maps feel authentic to feudal Japan. And definitely also in the works is a Bleak Rock campaign. I think that'll be a ton of fun. A magic Wild West campaign.
Ooh.
Bleak Rock's concept, for those who don't know, one of the islands that's kind of in the middle of the ocean, clustered together in the Glimmering Isles. Bleak Rock is the arcane frontier. Rather than revolvers and guns, they use spell slinging, as they call it. So they use wands and staffs and the like. But it is essentially a Wild West scenario with high fantasy magic.
I'm literally forgetting his name right now, but we met the dude in the Elven City.
Yes, Tanith.
Tanith, that's him. He was from there.
Yeah, he was a sheriff back in Bleak Rock before he left. That's why he's operating the same purpose. He was an elven cowboy. That's why he recognized wits as a spellcaster instantly, because you gotta know spell slingers if you're from Bleak Rock. But yeah, so that's some of the stuff coming up on the channel quite soon. So look forward to that. The campaigns will start relatively soon. As soon as I can get the groups together, but they're already forming, so it should be pretty quick. Similar spelling. It was spelled like this, Lolo. After the Tanith first and only. Tanith Applegrove. That's a good name. I like that name. It's a good D&D character name. No, it's okay. It's Lolo and Lola. It's different. It's distinct. Listen, Chibi. Silversong's over. You gotta let Urine Cole go. He's gone. He's a ghost. And also in the works, I shouldn't forget. Also in the works are the season 2s of some of the other campaigns that have wrapped. Silversongs will be obviously probably pushed quite a while. Call you Lottie? Very well. That works too. Silversong will be the one that will happen probably the furthest from now, just because they recently wrapped. We're going to try to get the Classic Crows gang back if we can, and the Brass Hand too, because each of them have things to explore. The Brass Hand is headed over the seas for a high seas pirate adventure, and Classic Crows are heading north. Indeed, that's the Discord link. Currently, right now, it's limited to only a few people linking, just because I didn't want anyone to take the link and spam it with people joining. So if that link is ever not working, let me know. Let me know if it doesn't work, because I'll make a new link. Now that we have some more people interested, I might change that link to be a more expanded one. So yeah, Classic Crows is heading north in the next campaign called Borefrost, for their second year of Magic School, and Brass Hand is headed overseas, with the eventual destination of Ikamura, the land of samurai. And then there's Seas of Sand, who will just go on forever because they keep missing sessions. So yeah, there's tons to look forward to on the channel. So get excited for all that, because I certainly am. There's lots of fun things planned, and a ton of very exciting D&D campaigns. Welcome, Lola, to the Discord server. So thank you all for tuning in. If you're one of the people who came here from that Twitter surge today, thank you again for all the very kind words and support that you gave me today. I was certainly not expecting it, but it was it was very nice. And I enjoyed talking with all of you and giving your pictures and your PNGs D&D classes and subclasses. There was a lot of really interesting ideas in there, actually, that were stemming from some people's character designs. We had some very unique D&D characters that were growing just naturally from all of that. We had an illusion wizard that looked like they were drawn out of like a stick figure, and all of their illusions were stick figures too. That was a personal favorite. That one was really good. But yeah, there was quite a few fun characters there. So. That was a blast. I had a ton of fun doing that all day today. And if you're new here, then you gotta roll a cheese. Exclamation mark cheese, and you can see how much poison damage you take from your poison cheese. It's tradition.
I'm not new, but I like rolling cheese.
If you all spam it, it might not work because there's a little bit of a timer in it. Just so that the entire chat doesn't fill with cheese. Actually, I might actually reduce the timer. There's no reason not to. Let's reduce it. I'll reduce it by next stream. Screw it.
Everyone can be poisoned.
Everyone can be poisoned if they want to. So, to wrap up, the next session of this campaign will happen next Tuesday, 7 p.m. I'm going to do a stream when we usually would have a nice roll, only 1 poison damage. You're still nice and healthy. It's a random D10 roll to see how much poison damage you take from eating the cheese. We had a lot of 8s rolled, so a 1 is pretty good. Sorry, Alito Viking. There's a timer on it, so you might have to wait another couple seconds before you can do it. But try it again in a couple seconds as I do my wrap up. And welcome also, first time chatter. So. To wrap up, next Whispers will be next week, of course. And then this week, Thursday, I'll do a fun little casual map making stream. So if you want to see how the maps are made and perhaps suggest an idea for a map that we can make and then even potentially use in a campaign later, show up to that and we'll hang out and we'll make some cozy maps. That'll be a fun time. Other than that, if you have not followed the Twitter, that's where I update schedule stuff. So follow that. If you have not joined our Discord, it's for anyone. It's not just for players. So stop by there if you are so inclined. If that link doesn't work, just tell me in chat and I'll update it.
Even if you're like a Discord lurker, there's a lot of cool art in there.
Yes,
check out.
Don't feel like you need to come in and be super conversational. If you want to join just to see, there's tons of memes and stuff about all the campaigns. There's tons of really, really, really good fan art by artists that play here. Some Sybil art you can see. There's tons of amazing stuff in there. So definitely check it out. But if you do like talking, there's individual channels for all the campaigns, and so you can theory craft as to what might be going on in those channels. But yeah, that's the Discord. If you ever miss a session and want to get caught up, I have an archive on YouTube. The link is there, but it is the same as my. That's okay. Low charisma builds are welcome there too. That's the link there, but it is Grand Lorian, much like the channel here. Just type that into YouTube and you'll find it as well. And so check out the archive if you ever miss anything. I upload the VODs once we finish streaming. Put them over there. Okay, I'm not a particularly high charisma build either, so you're welcome. You're welcome here. Check out that if you ever miss anything or want to get caught up or just want to go back and rewatch a part that you maybe missed or want to view once more. The other link that we have here is our World Anvil link. If you haven't seen this before, our World Anvil is basically like a wiki for information on the living world that all campaigns I run on this channel take place in. So a lot of my players know about it, but maybe the audience doesn't know as much about it. So if you want to learn more about the world and all the stuff that we kind of reference on stream, a ton of it is in there. All the continents and kingdoms, all the factions and deities, all the homebrew gods that we use in this in this realm. You heard references to Athar maybe in this stream, the god of nature. You can read about him over there. But yeah, there's even some character stuff there too. You can see a bunch of the maps there too. Actually, that reminds me, I have to update a couple of those maps. Yes, Athar does seem to be a player favorite. We have had a lot of Athar aspected characters. Everybody loves the Wildfather. Thank you for the follow, Flyer3232. No, that's not true. That's not true. Brava confirmed most popular goddess.
All my homies, though.
All your homies, maybe, but Brava is most popular goddess.
I know.
There's only it's that. There's only one R, Chibi. Before you let them.
Oh yeah, that was.
Before you let them
typo on
taint
my
your
part.
spelling. Athar is the god of nature. He's the Wildfather, as they call him. And he's the patron of most druids and nature clerics and Oath of the Ancient Paladins. But you can read more about him on the World Anvil. Yeah, Jellycap's dad.
But
Suppose that-
Athar's-
No.
Have you had more Athar or Brava followers?
In play,
Yeah.
probably Athar, just because all druids correspond with Athar, and then Valbella technically aligns with Athar. We even had Killian with Athar. So I would say probably more Athar people, but in universe, Brava is the most popular one. That's what I'm saying.
Player popularity would probably be like Athar, Brava, and then Seneschal, maybe?
Athar, yeah, Brava, then a little bit of Seneschal, just because of the piratey characters that we've gotten all sort of have a connection to her being the goddess of the sea. So yeah, that'd probably be the ranking. But anytime anybody wants to affiliate with one of the other gods, the other ones are really fun too.
Yeah. Bride and Groom's dope. That sequence in Classic Rose with them was super cool. Well, the sequences.
Thank you for the follow, Sorceress Glacy. I remember your username from Twitter. I didn't get to yours. I had to start prepping for D&D. I didn't get to yours yet. I'm gonna scan through the thread after the stream ends, and I'm gonna try and cover some of the people I didn't get to. But I remember your username, and I didn't get to you. But I'll get to you in the future. So yeah. But welcome. We're actually just wrapping up, Glacy. So unfortunately, we are ending. But the VODs will be there if you do want to take a peek at what occurred. Lots of hijinks. So yeah, we can wrap up now. I've been doing my ending spiel long enough. I've been having fun talking with you guys, but we should try to wrap up. Yeah. Let us let's raid somebody. We got a decent amount of people in here. Let's raid somebody. Let's do a. I have an idea. I know who we can raid. But thank you again, all of you, for showing up, and thanks for all the love on Twitter today. It's been a blast talking with everybody. It's been a blast, of course, DMing for you guys and streaming. So thanks for tuning in. I always have fun here. And we will send you over. Let's send you over to Rika35. She's doing art, and her art is absolutely phenomenal. So we'll send you there. Thank you for watching. Have a good night. Take care, everybody. I'm going to go right back to that thread and try to comb through and see if I can catch some people that I missed. So that'll be my night. Hope you all have a good night as well. And take care. Thanks for watching.
Have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
Night.
Go be polite to Rika and say nice things.